Welcome back. Leading sports tonight, many local and overseas coaches are now putting their hands up to lead the Flying Fijians to next year's Rugby World Cup. While the Fiji Rugby Union is yet to advertise the post for the 15th coach, interest has already begun pouring in. Also vying for the post is Rugby House's HPU General Manager.
With less than a year to the Rugby World Cup, the Fiji Rugby Union still hasn't advertised the Flying Fijians head coach's post. But FIU's High Performance Unit General Manager John Mackey has declared his willingness to take up the role if given a chance.
Yes, I've got a very strong background in rugby coaching at the high levels. When I came to Fiji, I wasn't coming here to be the Flying Fijians coach. Certainly, it's high performance manager. But now that the position is vacant and there's a process going on, and I'll be in discussions with the CEO about setting up the process. But certainly, I would be interested in the position.
The Flying Fijians are without a coach after Inoke Male's contract was terminated by the FIU board. With Mackey's background, record and experience in rugby, he could be a top contender if approached by Rugby House.
No one's asked me at this stage, am I interested? The board certainly haven't asked me, but yes, you look at my background and I see the opportunities here within Fiji rugby. I think for the Flying Fijians, they can perform very, very well.
The New Zealand-born says it will be a privilege to lead the Flying Fijians.
An exciting position. If it was offered, it could interest me. At the moment, it hasn't been offered, so I'm focusing on my role as high performance manager.
FIU is expected to advertise the post soon. Irfan Khan, Fiji One News.
The Fiji Rugby Union is liaising with an overseas company to assist in the manufacturing of their merchandise. Many stores around the country are currently selling the FRU brands at a cost unknown to them. Working in partnership with this company will help address the issue of financial sustainability.
We are currently liaising with a garment factory in Asia to sue FRU's products. In this way, we will be able to negotiate with them what we want done.
The current trend does not really indicate the true cost of what these shops are selling. Wangambada says the only way to solve the problem is to take ownership from the beginning.
This means that we have to go and visit them and see what we want, produce the merchandise, and then we decide where to sell them. In this way, FRU will benefit directly financially.
Flying Fijians captain Akapusing Guerra has walked away with the Fijian Player of the Year award at the Pacific Islands Association Awards Night. Guerra had an outstanding performance last year, helping Fiji win the Pacific Nations Cup. Tonga's Nili Latu won the overall award, taking out the Pacific Islands Player of the Year and Tonga's Player of the Year awards. Hurricanes and Samoan flanker Jack Lamb was awarded the Samoan Player of the Year award. The Vodafone Fiji Mbati Sevens team will shift its camp to a new location when the players return to prepare for the next leg of the IRB 7 series. The side will now camp and train in Rakiraki for the Japan and Hong Kong leg. Coach Ben Ryan says this is being done in a bid to foster relationships with communities and train in other parts of the country. The team has been training in Suva and at the Uprising Resort in Pacific Harbour. Players return to camp next week.
So they get a week off and then we go back into camp. We'll have 3-4 day camps before we select the side, as well as the boys getting released for the Maris Sevens. I'll go across to Nathula as well, so plenty of stuff to do over the next 4 weeks.
That was the Vodafone Fiji Sevens team and not the Fiji Mbati team. Fiji Sevens forward Pio Tuwai has become the new brand ambassador for sporting gear Cougar and BLK. While details of his endorsement contract is still a closely guarded secret, the lanky Sevens forward joins a long list of brand ambassadors in 7 countries the WRS group operates from. This includes former Wallaby skipper Will Guinea and Fainga twins, who all play for the Queensland Reds and Australian Super 15 franchise team outfitted by BLK.
I must have asked at least 40 Fijians across different arenas, from hotel staff to businesses to people on the street, that if Cougar was going to choose a brand ambassador, who should it be? And I was amazed to find that without question, Pio Tuai was the first person mentioned every single time without question. So I'm very proud to have this man sitting next to us today. And I'm very proud that he has agreed to be our brand ambassador.
Tuai will be responsible for outreach programs in villages and provinces around the country, spreading the gospel of rugby wear like Cougar and BLK.
We will be manufacturing garments for all of Fiji, from grassroots levels, schools, village teams, provincial teams.
Auckland Nines promoters are promising a low tolerance on drunken behaviour at Eden Park this weekend. That as the Wellington Sevens organisers review their alcohol policy after the number of arrests doubled from last year and evictions increased fivefold at this year's tournament.
The annual hangover from the Wellington Sevens. That's left police describing alcohol management at the Cake Tin this year as disappointing.
Yes, we have some things to think about and review over the coming months, and we are going to do a complete review of where we're at and what we did.
Police wouldn't speak on camera today, but say there were 270 evictions and 20 arrests, and the figures speak for themselves. They're now collating evidence from both days of the event to decide whether further action is required. Tournament organisers, though, say they'd worked closely with police for months on their alcohol management plan. They say a clampdown on drunken behaviour led to more people being kicked out.
What happened on the field was absolutely spectacular. We just want to get the balance right between that and what's happening in off the field in terms of entertainment.
And it's this kind of drama Auckland is trying to avoid this weekend.
There may be an arrest or two, and if there is, I support that. It's the police doing their job, and the 46,000 people might be a couple of bad eggs, and if there are, we're going to ship them out.
There's a big difference between having fun and being intoxicated, and we encourage people to have fun. We discourage people from having too much to drink.
Tough talk organisers will be reinforcing with this advertisement.
I'm sorry, you can't come in. You guys go ahead.
And if you're drunk, you're out.
Which is set to play at Eden Park throughout the weekend's competition.
Only 1 week now remains for the much-awaited Sports Awards Night. 74 federations will converge at the Vodafone Arena to honour the best in sports. Selina Navuso has the details.
It's expected to be a night with a difference, especially with Rugby League World Cup captain and Nassau native Petero Dibnideva as guest speaker. Sports personalities and federations alike are all looking forward to the one night in which they get together and reflect on the year that was.
We're very pleased with the results. All the sporting bodies and all the individuals and all the groups that have responded to that, and they've submitted their nominations, and to go from 4 to 74, that's quite an achievement, and we're grateful.
She adds all this would not have been possible without the kind gestures shown by companies like Vodafone and a few others.
Very grateful to Paradise Beverages, Tapu's, and of course for Coca-Cola and Fiji Water. These are the companies that have come forward to continue with the support. They've done this in the past, and they've come forward again.
The tickets have been on sale from last week and is selling really fast.
It's been good. We've had people come in and buy tables already because it's $45 for one ticket. But if you buy the whole ticket, the whole table, you buy it at $320, it's a discounted price per ticket.
The annual Sports Awards will be held next Friday at the Vodafone Arena. Selina Navuso, Fiji One News.
A joint committee consisting of members from the region's two biggest sporting bodies has been formed to look at how a continental games can be organized. The Oceania National Olympic Committee and the South Pacific Games Council have already had a series of meetings to discuss this. SPG Council President Vidya Lakan revealed this at a sports roundtable session at the PINA Summit currently underway in New Caledonia. If plans fall in place, the proposed Continental Games will see athletes from Australia and New Zealand taking part. Discussions so far have indicated that selected sports will be on offer to Australia and New Zealand in the first Continental Games if it happens. There are sports like rugby sevens, weightlifting, judo, karate and boxing where Pacific athletes will be able to compete with the two bigger nations. Lakan says both ONAC and SPG Games Council realize that a truly Continental Games is now necessary if one looks at what the Olympics stands for. He adds the Continental Games will allow Pacific athletes to uplift their standards. Lakan says the region receives a lot of money from the IOC, but they fail to perform at the Olympic Games. Fiji's two football clubs have been handed a tough draw in the OFC O-League playoffs to be held in April in Fiji. Nandi qualified as the second best team from Fiji and will face defending champions Auckland City, Vanuatu's top club Amical FC and AS Dragons from Tahiti. National League champions Ba also face a tough task after being drawn with Papua New Guinea's Hekari United, Vanuatu's Tafea and New Caledonia's AS Magenta. The matches will be played at Lautoka's Churchill Park, Ba's Govin Park and Nandi's Prince Charles Park from the 7th to the 15th of April. The winner of the competition will gain direct entry to the FIFA World Cup in Morocco in December. David Moyes considered that Manchester United's woeful season has proven to be worse than he could ever imagine after a 2-2 draw with bottom-placed Fulham at Old Trafford yesterday. United have appeared to fight back from a goal down to claim victory with 2 goals in 2 minutes from Robin van Persie and Michael Carrick. But Darren Brandt's 94th minute goal secured a 2-2 draw for Premier League's bottom club. The draw leaves United 9 points adrift of 4th place Liverpool in the race for Champions League qualification. And Emmanuel Adebayo scored the only goal to give Tottenham a 1-0 win over Everton. Spurs moved to within 3 points of 4th place Liverpool by winning at home to a top 7 team for the first time all season. Roy Krishna's Wellington Phoenix have surged into the A-League's top 6 for the first time this season after beating Jets Newcastle. Krishna was on the bench in this match, but it was Belgium's Stijn Huysegem and Jason Hicks' goals that helped Phoenix win the match 3-2.
Did brilliantly, such composure.
To get those young boys to play under those conditions and away from home against a parochial crowd, I thought they just did a fantastic job.
Phoenix moved to 6th place on 23 points with a victory which left the Jets second last on 20 points after 18 rounds. And finally in sports, the Black Caps' bad boy Jesse Ryder's New Zealand cricketer career is hanging by a thread again. New Zealand cricket has indicated that Ryder almost certainly won't be selected for the 2020 World Cup in Bangladesh next month, and his long-term future with the team is in serious doubt. The decision follows a late-night episode starring Ryder and Doug Bracewell on the eve of the first test against India in Auckland.
Mike Hesson left wringing his hands today when he should have been basking in the glow of a stunning test triumph.
Well, I think the fact that we won a test match yesterday and the fact that the first few questions are based around off-field incidents is clearly an extreme disappointment for the team. It takes away from a superb effort over the last 4 days.
The coach's anger clear as he announced Jesse Ryder's been dropped from the squad for the second test against India. Doug Bracewell, who injured his foot and, it's understood, his hand during last week's late night out, also cut.
We need to make sure that all our players prepare themselves accordingly for test cricket, and at the moment we don't have confidence that that's the case.
Ryder's exclusion opens a door for another batsman. Canterbury's Tom Latham is expected to get the call-up. It's possible he could make the playing 11, with the birth of Ross Taylor's child still imminent.
Hopefully Victoria will give birth in the next couple of days and hopefully will be available for the next test.
Bowler Hamish Bennett also looks likely to join the squad as Bracewell's replacement, but is unlikely to be required.
I wouldn't think we'd make changes, but we'll have to wait and see, have a look at the wicket. We'll let this one sink in before we sort of address the next one.
McCullum not the only one hoping, come the second test on Friday, it'll actually be the game making headlines.
Any cricket questions or anything like that?
Unfortunately for Hesson, the subject is far from closed. A decision's expected on Ryder and Bracewell's long-term international playing future tomorrow.
That's Sports Tonight, Willie.
Thanks, Myron. Stay with us. We have world news after the break.